You all actually have quite unique styles, but obviously you all animate for like the sake of efficiency, because you make these massive 10-minute animations, and so you try to keep your designs quite minimal, but yet they are still quite unique and stand out. So how did you get there? Like, what was the evolution of your styles to get you there?
Obviously, it was a play to efficiency. I was doing freelance all day when I first started on YouTube, and it was my free time that I was trying to put out YouTube videos. So the want to put out more and more and more, that kind of incited, I need to really simplify this character design to get out more. But I still really love, human proportions, a feeling of weight and depth and balance in a drawing. So it kind of I kind of utilize a lot of, human proportions and very strong storytelling poses in mind, even though it's a relatively simple shape. I think that just came from my personal preference as an artist and what I personally love to draw and what's easy for me to draw.
Thanks, Rebecca. So having like a very simplistic character design will save you a bunch of time, because with animation you have to redraw the person over and over again, and it is very tedious. But another thing that I found, I was drawing some cartoons, as I do, and I was coloring them, and I was just thinking that how monotonous it was, and how that it's like, why am I spending so much time like coloring this? I could probably get other people to color it for me, and then I can save a lot of time, just teach them. So I've brought on a team of people that helps color and do backgrounds, that and also doing some other animated frame-by-frame stuff. And I know not everyone here has a team, but that is a way that I can save time by getting people that getting people to do the stuff that is tedious, that other people can. Just having a team of people is what I...
And it's still your creative vision, right?
Yes.
And that's because, you're acting as a director in that position. And that's what directors do, is they direct the visual style and they direct the audience's eye. So it's still your vision, even though, James and Jaiden have staff. So yeah.
That's just to get videos out quicker, because otherwise it would take years to make a video. Yeah.
Yeah. The style. I didn't start with like a specific style. People always say like, oh, how did you develop your art style? And it's like, I don't know, I just did it. I think a lot of people focus too much on art style when it's just like, draw what makes you feel comfortable and also what you like. So I didn't have like a style I was going for. I just like drew the way I wanted to. And then, yeah, eventually videos were being like taking a lot of time, and I was getting like way too overworked with just working by myself, so I reached out to help. It took a while to get like a good team going. For a while it was like worse because they were like doing scenes and I was like, it doesn't look good, and I'd have to redo it anyway. But I think the team that I've got right now is really good, and I think the videos have been looking the best they ever have been, and I've also got more free time, so that's good.
The way I developed my art style is it started off with just a circle, stick figure body, and eyes. It just started developing because I kind of started taking inspiration from
TheOdd1sOut. Sorry.
Get out.
Said and I was like,
Get out. Taking inspiration from the shows I like Adventure Time. Really just love their art style. It's super silly. So, yeah. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
James, you just touched on, you and Jaiden both talked about your teams. I think a lot of people in this audience would be very interested to know like the kind of processes that you guys go through to make a video from like start to finish. And obviously a lot of you all have very different processes. Some of you work solo, some of you work with a team. So whichever of you feel comfortable talking about that, like what's the journey that it goes from idea to upload?
all right, well, I don't know how much time we have, so. No, well, you're right, it is right, okay. What was I saying? So from start to finish, it actually takes longer than a month for a video to be done. So I'm trying out this new thing where I'm like juggling 2 videos at once. So while I'm working on a video, I'll write up a script, record the audio, and then edit the audio. Well, I get someone else to edit anyway, and then while I'm working on another video, I get some storyboarders to storyboard out the video, and then I'll also do some of the storyboards. And then I'll like tell the storyboarders like, no, I don't like this, or yes, I do like this. And then while also I'm still working on a video, then I'll get some background artists to start making the backgrounds, and then hopefully I'll have that video finished, and then I can start working on the next video, and then while I'm doing that, start writing the script up for the next video. It's just, and so it just takes a lot of time, and then I draw the pictures. So it's like it's script, audio, storyboard, backgrounds, characters, upload.
So is it roughly, what does that make it? 3 videos are roughly in production?
No, it's like
Or is it
2.
2. Okay.
So it's like I finish one, then I have another one, then when I finish one, then I'm like halfway through the next one. So yeah.
So for what I do is I take a day to write a script, and then I have like friends edit it and be like, oh, you should add this one, and it's like, yeah, that actually makes it funny, and then I'll record it and have someone edit the audio because it's a long process and editing audio is really boring. And then while that's happening, I'll write a task list. So what happens is like I'll say like from frame 1 to 200, that's when the Jaiden is walking down the street or something, and then so when I send the whole task list of the video, the animators will know like, oh, this scene is Jaiden walking down the street, so I'll storyboard that. And so we have like different categories, like one person will grab the storyboard and another person will do the keyframes and one person will do the in-betweens. So it's like a process. So every scene, like 3 different people have worked on it, and I do like storyboards and in-betweens. I mean storyboards and keyframes. I don't really do the in-betweens, but that's the process for. And then near the end, when it's just in-betweeners kind of thing, I'll work on the next video. So it's
Juggling.
cycle.
Yeah.
It's a lot of juggling.
Adam and I just wing it.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, well, you talked a bit about keyframes. So these are like technical terms within animation. So who wants to explain animation to our lovely crowd here? Go on,
Why me?
Adam.
Yeah. Don't ask the person who has a BFA in animation. You have to explain
Okay.
animation.
I-
Let's not do that. Oh, sure. No, absolutely. Animation. So in animation, you have incredibly important poses in what you're doing, and that can be like.
Wow.
Yeah, demonstration. So if I'm trying to have a character point off screen about something, I think a keyframe would be here, and then a keyframe would be here. So it goes pop, pop, and in-betweens are what you do in between those frames to get the timing right. So if I have a lot of frames, it's going to be a much slower action. If I have a short amount of frames, it's going to be very quick. And it all depends on what kind of acting you want. So you have people who are going to be planning out the most important poses, this to this, like what Jaiden does. And then you have other animators come in, and they're the ones that kind of fill in the gaps with this timing right here. So that's what we're talking about when we say keyframes and in-betweens.
Yeah.
What do you use to animate?
Okay, I was going to explain something a little bit longer, but
Okay,
if
go
here's a little tip for all of the people that are trying to learn. You can find a lot of information about what a YouTuber does in their about page or their frequently asked question page. There's okay.
Not worried with you.
Well, so just I get asked this a lot, and I'm just like, check my about page. So Tom, remember how you said that you animated in PowerPoint? It's kind of what I do. I draw everything out in this one program called PaintToolSci, and then animate it, and then in Adobe Premiere. So it's very much still a slideshow, and everyone else uses Flash, which is the more proper animation program. So that is what I would recommend. It would be Flash, not what I use.
It's not the tool, it's the end product.
Exactly. That's another thing, is that people always think that like, oh, I need the same equipment that this person uses because that will make my videos better. And it's like, it's not, the equipment we use isn't what makes the videos good. It's like it's us that make the videos good.
It's like if you have a calculator, like you could use the most rinky-dink calculator to do anything, but if you have like a giant scientific calculator, but you don't know any of the functions, it's like, nah.
Exactly.
Are there any like tips that you would give people who are just now trying to start out making cartoons or even drawing maybe?
Just do it. Just practice. Like,
I'll also look at tutorials online.
yeah. Tutorials are great, but like, I tell everybody, and this is a very famous quote by a Disney artist, Walt Stanchfield, I think. He says, everyone has 10,000 bad drawings in them, and it's important to get them out as soon as possible. So you will fill mountains of sketchbooks with bad drawings before you start to get comfortable with your ability. So just get through those 10,000 bad drawings. That's how you start.
I'm still working on the 10,000. No one's going to start out being good. That's not how it works. So you all have to start out on floor 0 and then work your way up to good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely takes, like, I think it stops a lot of people on YouTube who want to do animation or some sort of art thing, is they're like, oh, I want the first video to be the best thing, and that's not gonna happen. Like, look at all of our first videos, it didn't happen. It's about like posting it and getting past yourself and just keep going at it, because you're gonna improve whether you like it or not.
It sounds cliche, but it's true. So.
Yeah.
What?
Whoa. No dabbing on my stage.
Sorry, moderator.
I mean, yeah, just do it. I mean, the only person stopping yourself from succeeding is yourself, so just continue to do what you like. Practice makes perfect 100%.
Was like copying other art styles or tracing anything that you found yourself doing a lot of? And I think, and I say this knowing that it's a very natural thing that that I think is a necessary part of growing and developing your own style. But is that something that you did? And if so, would you be comfortable saying, what?
I had a book as a kid called How to Draw Animals, and I disregarded all the information. I disregarded all the information and just traced everything. But that was when I was like 7 or 8. So I think it helped me develop the motor skills and like hand-eye coordination to be able to like draw lines in a way that I wanted to, just to like gain that skill. I haven't like traced anything digitally or like for my career. I think that's a bit of a sketchy path, at least like when you're more developed. But I think tracing is a really important part about art, especially if you're...
It's good to practice.
Yeah,
yeah.
As long as you don't try and pass it off as yourself. But as a kid, I did try to pass off the tracing of like a cheetah, and I was like, Mom, look at this, and she's like, oh yeah, totally not traced.
When I started, I was actually a fan of this comic called Loading Artist, and he had these characters with white skin and like little sticks for arms and like very simplistic designs. And so when I first started, I actually had like characters with clothing and hair, but I was spending so much time drawing them and no one was reading the comics. So I was like, I'm gonna take a couple of steps back and go with a way more simplistic design. And so I took inspiration from the Loading Artist guy. Shout out to Loading Artist if he's watching this. And I went with a white skin. Instead of like little stick arms, I had bubble arms, or little, I don't know what to call them. But so I did like sort of take inspiration from that simplistic design from him, but I've kind of evolved it and made it more of my own.
Do any of you have any tips on, once you've done that, once you've started, just taking little bits and bats from people you like, how do you then start developing that into your own unique style? What takes you from I'm tracing the odd ones out to now I'm, something else YouTube?
Obviously, you need to take inspiration to like start on a path, but once you get into like after a while, you start developing, maybe even just subconsciously putting your own personal spin on it. And the more you like push yourself into like, oh, maybe I want to do this instead of like, what is so and so doing? I think it comes very naturally.
Just experiment with your art.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's it. Someone else take the thing.
And what I find is what separates a lot of us is what we personally think is visually appealing to us, like what we think looks visually right for us. Like I can look at any one of their styles and say, yeah, that's perfect. They have their visual style down. But I can't physically make myself implement what they do into what I do, because this is what I want my artwork to look like. And I think that's what is the unique thumbprint that each of us have on our own styles, is that James's, Powerpuff Girl arms, that's what
they should be called.
Yeah.
Bubble arms.
The little sandbag arms. That's what's appealing and useful for his version of storytelling and his jokes and his condensing and simplifying. And same thing with Jaiden and Adam. And what's useful for my my storytelling is, you know, the human body proportions and the, you know, the very, you know, out there strong storytelling poses, the very Chuck Jonesy storytelling poses. And that's just what we personally love to see in our own artwork. So if you start seeing something that you particularly like in what you're drawing and you start leaning towards that, embrace that, because that's where your own style is starting to kick in, you know?
Yeah. There's like the one quote of like, to be like, art is just everyone, so many people ripped off that it becomes your own thing. So.
Okay, well, the last thing I think we should do is go down the line and just throw out a little something for each person in this audience who, you know, what would you like to say to them if they want to be you? Well, one, don't be them, be you. But if they want to do it, I know we kind of touched on this, but is there anything that you'd like to pass on to the youth and hairy old among us?
Okay, well, I just want to say that I truly believe that anyone in this audience can be a YouTuber. There's not some secret ingredient. It's if you just have the determination and the time, I guess, then anyone can make YouTube videos and grow an audience, and any single one of you can be up on this stage on next to Tom.
Well.
Yeah, if you want to do something, just do it, kind of thing.
Shia LaBeouf it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Sounds cliche, but that's all we got.
Yeah, it sounds very generic, and anyone could be saying this, but it's also because it's true. Like,
Yeah.
you could say it to yourself, and it's, yeah.
You get a mirror, just do it.
Well, I would say go into it with absolute sincerity. Make videos you would want to watch. Don't go into it trying to chase numbers or just like make something you think is popular from what you've observed. Make the stuff that that excites you to make and would excite you to watch.
Yes.
And because sincerity is just, well,
I mean,
I don't know what this is, but that.
At a lot of those YouTube talks and stuff like that, they teach you to like follow trends, look at your analytics, do this. But I think just make what you want to make. Yep. Be as you as you can be, because I mean, you can only be as you as much as you are you. But like, I don't know, authenticity is just a really awesome thing seeing on YouTube, especially since everyone nowadays is just kind of trying to follow a trend. Trends are all temporary. They don't all last forever. I say if you're gonna go into it, do it because you love doing it.
Well, you guys are walking proof that there is more to YouTube than just following the algorithm, than just dropping that daily content. You can release quality content irregularly, infrequently, and still make a name for yourself, and there's still a place for that on the site. So that's awesome. Well, with that, I'm going to say thank you again to my lovely panelists. Give them a little cheeky clap.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you guys for coming, and enjoy the rest of your VidCon. Bye, everyone.
Oh, really?
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, wait.
Wear your seatbelt.